We are excited about the elaboration room.
I am excited about this.
Welcome to the Elaboration Room with Reverend Yo and Reverend Harris.
Hello, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining us in the Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. We are so glad you've come to join us once again as we give you something else to consider. So tonight we are going to be talking about starting over. It will follow with the last two episodes we did, episode 1 and 2 on facing the giants. So now we're going to deal today with starting over. And we've all had to start over at one point or another in our life, whether it was a job, a relationship, moving to a new home, buying a new car, whatever it may have been. We all have had the moment where we had to start over. Even if life has thrown us, an unexpected challenge, we have had to start over in one simple way or another. So today we are going to start with Sissy, and she is going to talk to us about starting over is not the end of your story. It's a new beginning, a fresh opportunity.
Girl.
God can use to bring about something greater than you can even imagine. So it's all you.
That's right. Okay. Thank you, sis. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
But as Reverend Yo said, at one time or another, we've each had to start over, whether it was expected or unexpected, that situations have occurred where we've had to start over in different scenarios, different spaces, going away to school. If you're like able to go away for college and stay in a dorm, that's like a start over because you're now on your own. You're not at home under with the parents and their rules and everything. So you are starting over in your own space of adulthood and having to maneuver that and figure that out and pretty much more develop in who you are going to be as an adult. And also, as Reverend Yo brought up, maybe it's the ending of a relationship, and now you are starting over after years of being in this relationship, being a part of this coupleness, and now you are single and maneuvering life situations, or maybe something devastating happened and you find yourself having to start over. If you've lost a home, there's been a flood or a fire or earthquake or whatever, and you find yourself having to start over, or lost a job, or just getting a new job and you are now starting over in a new environment. How do you maneuver that? And I know that from my own life experience that I've had moments where the start over was exciting and new, and I was looking forward to it. And then there were those moments where the start over was not so welcoming because it wasn't what I pictured in my mind of how my life was supposed to unfold.
Mm.
And I say that now with such sarcasm because years ago, when I said it, the words were, "This is not how my life is supposed to be." Because I had pictured in my mind of what my life was supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thrown into a space of having to start over. And just like facing those giants that we talked about, I guess we could call this part three. Because just like facing those giants, I'm telling you, with tooth and nail, I was holding on to the vision that according to the book of Theresa, had written. And I'm saying that now, but it took therapy for me to get there. According to the book that Theresa wrote, that was not how my life, what was happening now was not the way my life was supposed to be unfolding. I had it all pictured. And
Mm-hmm.
now all of a sudden, this path was thrown into my book of what I wrote for the script of my life. Some pages were added that weren't supposed to be there. And so I didn't put that ink on those pages. And that was now becoming a giant in my
Mm-hmm.
life.
Wow.
And it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. I'm telling you, it was hard. It was gut wrenching. It was humbling. It was a reality check
Mm.
that I did not have the control that I thought I had. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a start over is a good, well, I'm not going to say sometimes. There are those spaces where starting over is so welcoming because you're looking forward to it. When I was going away to college, I was excited. And that start over was exciting. I was going to meet new people and do new things and learn and get my life path going. And it was exciting. But when I had this trajectory in my mind of where my life was moving, and my life was moving that way, and then all of a sudden it does, whoop, that wasn't exciting. That was hard. So, how do you face those start overs? How do we face the start overs that we don't plan, that we are thrown into? And now we have to maneuver. And I had difficulty with it. I had difficulty with it. Why? Because I thought I was writing my story.
But
And
did you
so
have
I
but did,
didn't, and I was not writing my story.
but did you have difficulties because you could have had the resistance of starting over because of fear or disappointment, or you just didn't understand where it was going? Because that can happen to some people. They can resist that starting over because of that, the fear, the shame, the disappointment, the unknown, which we talked about in,
It
you know,
wasn't shame.
those
It was a
giants.
start. It was a start over. It was a starting over that was not in my control.
Mm,
And I had to realize so many things. And sometimes for start overs, especially in relationships, we have to realize that there are people that come into our lives for a season.
definitely.
And once that season is done, they move on or they
Mhm.
come into our life for a reason,
Yep. And
which
that
could
can
be
be
called
long.
a season two. And once that is done, once their job is done, once their time with us is done, they move on or they're no longer there. And that leaves us in a place of starting over.
Mhm.
And we don't have control over that often.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to come to realize and come to really understand when God says, I know the plans that I have for you.
Yeah.
And it's not according to the book of Theresa. And that's what I truly had to come to grips with and come to realize and come to understand and be able to approach the start over with confidence. And though I had a space, a period of time, with some start overs, it's because, especially when there's a loss or a broken relationship or something like that, that's a loss. And you still have to go through that grieving period. And I didn't understand that. I didn't know anything about that. And I had to learn about that. And the therapist helped me to understand and learn that I still had to go through the steps, the
Yeah.
grieving process steps. And I became stuck at the beginning one, the denial. And all I could say, it was like a mantra. This is not how my life is supposed to be. This is not how I saw my life unfolding. This is not, this is not. Well, sometimes we have to say, wow, look at how my life is unfolding. Am I going to be stuck here in this mud, in this spot? Am I going to be stuck in this rerun of what I thought my life was supposed to be, or move on? And that's where the starting over comes into it.
Yeah.
And having confidence in God so that God can show me grace and mercy, and being open to that.
Yeah.
Because as long as I kept saying, this is not how my life is supposed to be, I was not open to anything. I
Yeah.
was not open to moving through the process. I was not open to any of it, but I had to get there. And that's where God becomes your strength and your shield, and placing my trust in Him. That's where I got the help. But it took some time to get there. So, there's no race to starting over. There's no time span that says you have to be able to move on. You must move on. Your grieving must be over by this time. You must be moving on by this timeline. There is no timeline for it, but it is important that you do get there, that you don't stay stagnant in the space, because that has been seen to break a lot of people, to break their heart. A broken heart is real.
Yeah.
And if you can't get past this part of being stuck, if you can't get unstuck, you need to seek help, because there are people that are able to help you just by you being able to talk it out and hear yourself. And that's with even like losing a home. I think about back when the fires were happening, and um, people lost their homes and all of that, and
Yeah.
they had to start over. And that's hard, because everything that they had was there. So that there's a grieving process over losing that stuff, because you're burying those memories that in that space. And in a way, we'll
Mm-hmm.
never lose all of our memories, but in a way, that space is being buried, and you're getting ready to start anew. I was walking, and I saw this guy. A brick fence around this house had been demolished on one side. And he came, he had his bag of cement, he had his tools, and he was just standing there. And he was standing there in the yard. And I came walking on by, and I said, good morning. And he said, good morning. But his gaze never left that spot where this fence is partially just broken down. So some of the concrete is still there. It's laying in the yard. And he has the new bags of cement. He has his tools, but he's standing there, stuck. And I say to him, you don't know where to begin. And he looked at me and he said, right, you don't know where to begin. But that's where prayer comes in, and God shows us in life where to begin if we would just trust in Him. Because the next day when I came by, He had bricks already put up where He was moving through and rebuilding these people's fence, their wall. He began by getting rid of what was torn and broken and get just moving it, taking it away. Sometimes we have to begin by letting go of the past
Mhm.
so God can bring in the new. And that's what I saw with the new bricks being put in. And He was now on a way to rebuilding.
Yeah.
All right, sis. I talked long.
I don't have nothing to say, girl. You did it all. I'm happy about it. I got the rest of my voice because it's acting up again. So I got the rest of my voice, which you know me, I'm good for that one. But there is one thing I want to say as we get prepared to close out. One of the hardest things in life is moving on from something or someone that has deeply impacted us. You know, so what makes it even harder to move on or start over is more what we're talking about tonight is the pressures that society places on us. So, you know, some people would tell you, because Theresa was, Reverend T was talking about grieving has no timeline. And some people, you know, always tell you, you should be over this by now, you know, you should be moving on, you know, but we're all in a place different. We're all in a different place. We all heal different. We grieve different. We do things different. One of the one of the three words that I hate the most that people say to people is get over it. That really bothers me because you can't tell somebody to get over something because it happened to you and you got over it faster, or it happened to you and it didn't affect you at all. You know, some people rush on to the next, but you know, there's others that take their time, you know, and spend time with God or spend time even knowing who they are,
Yeah.
because that many times when we're wrapped up in husbands and children, we lose ourselves in those relationships because everything is about the husband or everything is about the kids, and then really nothing is about us. So, you know, it's part of life and it's how things go. But during your process of healing and restoration, uh, there is no rush to you getting to that point in your life because everyone's journey is different.
Mm-hmm.
Some take months and you know some can take years, and that's okay. You know, that is simply okay. Your healing journey is between you and God. That's who it's between. Your healing journey is between you and God. So every morning that God gives you the fresh grace to keep moving forward on your own, thank you.
That's
Because
it. A
that's
day at a time.
absolutely,
Yes. A moment at a time.
yeah, we're often harder on ourselves than God is.
Oh, definitely.
We are. So we just have to focus on where we want to go because moving on doesn't always mean you will forget the past, but it means you trust God with your future. That's what it means. So whatever God is doing, He's doing something new for you in your life. And even if you don't see it yet, trust us. God is doing something.
Definitely. Is that all?
I think that's all. I got
So,
my 2 cents in.
ah, so just know that God's grace is sufficient
Yes, it is.
and
Yes,
God's power is made perfect in our weakness.
yes, definitely.
So we hope that we again have given you something else to consider. Please drop us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. I love it when someone makes a comment and then someone else can go on there and say, "Oh wow, that happened to me," or "That's just what I was thinking," and they can add their comment in. We always say just make sure your comments are respectful and that we are very considerate of each other's feelings. So
Yeah.
we hope we have given you something else to consider.
And we want you to always remember, first, we want to thank you for joining us in the Elaboration Room with Two Sisters of One. We want to give you something else to consider as well: to be brave, be strong, and be different. Asking it will be given unto you, seeking you shall find, knock, and the door shall be opened unto you. Believe in yourself and encourage yourself. But in all things, remember, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Peace and blessings, our brothers and sisters. Until next time in the Elaboration Room with Two Sisters of One, be blessed.
Bye-bye.
The Elaboration Room with Two Sisters of One. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode every Monday at 6 p.m.